Alright, so our next step here is we're going to be making these fake candles. So they're made out of wooden dowels and glue from a hot glue gun, and then just cord that I have painted black. So the very first step is painting your cord black, or if you happen to get some that's black, you can use that as well. For the amount that is needed, I decided to just take some yarn that I had at home and paint it black. I am working on a non-porous surface here. This is a great one for when we're doing our distress background for creating the paper for the poinsettias. The other thing it's nice for is paint, because once I'm done with this, it's easy to wipe off. If it happens to dry, it's also still very easy to wipe off. So I'm going to leave my paintbrush there for a moment, let that dry. Once it's completely dry, it goes nice and stiff. You only need probably about an inch. You need about a ½ inch per candle, but it's much easier to do a bunch of it at one time. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my dowel and I'm going to paint it gold. So I've got some dowels here that are 4 inches long, and I've got some that are 6 inches long. They're about 1/4 inch in diameter. And then you'll notice that I have my little candles in stages here. They're all pressed into a piece of floral or oasis. When it comes time to creating our vignette and putting everything in there, I put a little tiny piece of the oasis because I found that it helped give a little bit of dimension to it. It gave me a surface to glue everything to. So I paint my dowels, put them in the oasis to dry, and you may have noticed I didn't paint the bottom. It's going to go behind the flowers anyways into the oasis, so you're not going to see that it's not painted. I'm going to put this down for now. I'll need it in a second. So the very first step after you've got your surface painted, one second, I got to take the dry one here. You want to make sure that your glue gun is nice and hot. You're going to go to the top of it and you're going to put some glue going down the dowel as well as on top of the dowel. I need another glue stick here. One second. The trigger's not working a second here. There we go. So definitely make sure you're not putting your fingers in the hot glue because it is hot. And also keep in mind that while it cools, it's still going to drizzle down. So put it down, leave the glue a little bit higher than what you want it to go to. Once it's completely dry, we are going to add a second layer of glue. But before we do that, I want to have a little piece of wick ready here. All right, so I've got my second one here. You could just do your glue in one layer, but I like the look of having layered drips on mine, so I like to do it in 2 different layers here. And I'm really quite liberal with the glue because I love the oozy wax look. While that is still hot, I'm going to put my wick right in the top. And it doesn't need to be completely straight. It's fine if it goes a little bit to the side or whatnot, because regular candles do that. So if you wanted, you could leave your glue like that, but I want to paint my glue gold. So I'm just taking my brush, and I'm not doing it super carefully. If I see a little bit of wax or the glue behind there, I'm totally fine with that. I kind of like the different look of it, as well as the fact that I highly doubt someone is looking at your piece with that critical of an eye that they're gonna have an issue with it. Sometimes, this one's not too bad, sometimes I feel that the gold hasn't completely covered my dowel enough, and I typically will go and add a second coat to that gold, just so that it's more, it's just covered the dowel a little bit more. I'm not seeing the wood. And then I'm going to set that in here to dry. And typically I get some gold on my fingers, that's totally fine. Once it's completely dry, this is how it looks. So you'll see, I do see some bits of gold, or sorry, bits of the glue through there. I kind of like the different look of the gold not being completely opaque of it there being a little bit of wax there, because if you notice some metallic candles, there's clear wax, so you're not going to get a completely gold drip anyways. So I have two candles here. One is the 4 inches, one is the 6 inches. So I'm going to be able to have two different heights on my project. If you want, you could have them the same height. I just think they look better if there's a couple different heights. I just think it's more visually pleasing. So you're going to put that in your Oasis and let them completely dry before we're going to use them. We're going to have this aside and ready for when we are adding them to our project. The next step is we are going to create the red distress background for our poinsettias. We'll see you in the next video.